What is up, everyone? If you saw my last video, it was basically just one thing. I kind of wanted to talk about animated films because it was just bothering me a little bit. I saw this thing dedicated on Netflix. It was called something like Pato or something like that. I don't know what it was called, but it was like a take on a little kid's TV show. And this thing just destroyed this bunny, and I don't know. I think part of me just couldn't handle it because it was just another case of cute killing, and I ain't like that. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just go into the actual video blog. Oh my god, this is what my hair looks like when I'm not doing anything to it. I just woke up still, and I am tired. Not really. Yes, a little. But yeah. So yeah, I guess I'll just get started. Work is getting a little bit more challenging because it's a holiday season. So now, like I work the weekends. And as long as like looking back, as long as I've actually worked, I've normally worked the weekends. So I've never really had a chance to be excited about the weekends. So it just feels kind of stressful that like I always had this like saying, welcome to the weekend where everybody's off work except you. Because the joke was that like on the weekend it would always be like a lot more busy, especially if we're working on like retail or food. So yeah, and it's stressful, but like not too terrible though. Like I said, I like the fact that I get a chance to work like early in the morning. So like I get a chance to wake up, go to work, and before the day, and leave, and there's still sunlight out. I hate closing because I always hated. I think I mentioned this in my older videos. I always hated the idea of going to work when the sun is up and then leaving and the sun is down. And it just literally, like, I know it doesn't mean that I've been working all day, but like psychologically, it just means that I've technically devoted my whole day to work, and I guess part of me just can't stand that. You know, I mean, granted, I get my mornings to myself, but I'm a night owl to some extent. um, but yeah, working is stressful. But now I'm starting to kind of, like in the times when I work by myself, every so often I'm trying my best to learn a little bit of something. When I'm back at the house, in my own spare time or whatever. I just recently learned about the 15 branches of the cabinet and the executive branch, and it's really weird. Like I feel like the Department of Commerce and the Department of Treasury are kind of redundant. They're kind of like just the same thing, and you could just sort of merge those together. But I mean, I'm not the president, so I don't really know how that goes. But I now know what the Department of Energy is, and it's weird. I feel like that's like the most underutilized department in the executive branch in general. I mean, we still using oil. Come on. Like, is there a future for transportation, or is this it? Is cars just it? You know, like where's the teleportation? Can we get teleportation? No, we probably shouldn't get teleportation, because people would be teleporting to other people's houses. You can't talk smack on the internet anymore because somebody's going to teleport into your house and beat you up. The world is just not ready. The future of transportation should be like at least moderated a little bit. I just feel like we should be like talking about the future because we actually have the ability to do so. It just doesn't make any sense that this is it. In the past century or so, all we've gotten is maybe airplanes, cell phones, and internet. I'm rambling. I'm ranting off here. But yeah, though, I'm starting to learn a little bit more about not just politics, but like the government in general. I'm trying my best to sort of understand how America works, especially because I just recently learned on TikTok that in China and Germany right now, they're making like, all right, so like a long time ago, before the kiddies, be when the kids were kids, they used to have these commercials in America, kind of talking about like Africa and how starving they were, And now Germany and China are doing that to America. Like it's like, once you've been in America for as long as I've been in America, you hear all these racists talking about, America's the greatest country in the world, and we're not racist, we're Republican, and all this other stuff. And so it's like, it's really funny to see that the rest of the world don't think that way anymore. So it's like, who has been spilling this lie that America's the greatest country in the world, where other countries are basically saying, can we please feed these poor people in America? It's beautiful, man. It's hilarious. We're the ghetto. We're the ghetto. Also, speaking of politics, did y'all hear about the QAnon group? Going to going to Texas for John F. Kennedy Jr. to sort of like come back and say that Donald Trump is the president. Like, I'm not necessarily saying that, I'm not going to knock those people for what they believe. By all means, believe what you want to believe. But at some point, when the lie is being proven to be a lie, when do you start saying, you know what, maybe I don't believe this. Maybe I shouldn't believe this stuff. I don't think this stuff is right. I don't think this stuff is legit. Like, when does that start being an idea? When does that start, like, like being the concept that's utilized in the thought process involved in what's going on? Because, like, if I was part of a cult, like, I don't know if I'm not gonna ever say that it will be easy. I'm not gonna ever say that I can never be brainwashed, but I would like to think that it would be a bit of a challenge, because I question too much stuff. Like, I'll be asking why all the time, and I don't think I could be convinced to not ask why. I see myself being the type of person to always ask why, and the cult leader being like, no, get that one out of here, because he keeps asking questions. Because there's only two reasons for cults: one, getting money, and two, having a lot of sex. So, if you're part of a cult, just keep your eyes on your wife. And I feel like that's what QAnon did. Like, QAnon, I feel like what happened with QAnon is they realized that they could sucker a whole lot of people who, like, they could just literally say, Donald Trump is still president, pay me. And they just was like, here you go. So that's my, like, there's a lot of stuff that's going on politically, and I'm not just, I'm not even talking about the QAnon people, but, like, like, the more I learn about Congress, the more I hate Joe Manchin. So it's like, because right now there was the whole bill that was supposed to be about using a couple $1 trillion to sort of fix up on America's infrastructure. And then Joe Manchin's like, nah, I don't want to do that. And then it's like, well, why not? And he's like, well, why don't I want to do this? And it's like, we're asking you that same question. Well, can we pass it? No. And the thing about this is that, like, the more you learn about Congress, the more you learn that the reason why Joe Manchin has all this power is because, like, literally half of Congress is Republican. And because all the Republicans say no to this bill, all Joe Manchin has to do is just say no, and it's kaputski. So, because it's like, I think it's like, what, you need 60 people in order for something to pass, but if as much as 51 people don't want it to pass, it won't pass. It's just too complicated. It's a filibuster thing, because filibuster, racism, yada, 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 history. But, yeah, it's just crazy. So there's that. Okay, so that's professional, political, personal. Personally, like I said, I'm glad that I'm learning these things now. It feels good that I'm, sort of like just taking time off to just sort of learn on my own, because, like, this stuff still doesn't make any sense to me, but it's getting easier to understand the more I learn it. But I just have to reread the same thing, like, every day. I just don't think I could ever write an essay for it or anything like that. Speaking of essays and reading and learning things, I finished Dune. Like, once upon a time, I never even heard about Dune. And then I remember one day I was hearing about it like almost every other couple of days, right? And next thing I know, I'm watching the movie with my roommate, and I watched the new one, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but, it's a lot like the original, but not really. It's crazy, man. And it's really crazy because, like, now apparently you're starting to hear, like, a lot of the nostalgia hounds going, well, the original movie was actually a little bit better than the new movie. And it's like you read about the old movie, the original movie, and people are like, it's the worst movie ever. It was terrible. It was bad. The director of the movie even disqualified himself from making it and all this other stuff. And it's like nostalgia filters, baby. I saw it. I saw the movie and I liked it. I liked it, and I feel like I probably would have liked it back then, unless of course you count that space slug looking thing, whatever. Also, looking at Sting play Frayed in the original film makes me wonder if he motivated the lead singer of Power Man 5000, Spider One, because I'm a big fan of that type of music, like Power Man 5000, Static X, Monster Magnet, things like that. Like a lot of old school '90s rock music. Fuel. And now, like looking at Frayed in the original Dune video, the first thing I thought was that is totally the lead singer of Power Man 5000, and I don't think it is. It was Sting, but still, like, what? That's so wild. But yeah, like I finished the Dune movies. I'm reading a lot. I'm reading the Milestone comics now. Like Static, Hardware, Blood Syndicate, those likes. And I'm reading the originals before I read the new ones. I like kind of like catching up on the older stuff before I read the newer stuff. So that is something else that I'm trying to do to sort of, pace my time or whatever. And that's the thing that I am doing now. They're just sort of like, now that I got the DC app, I'm going nuts on that thing, man. I'm telling you. I'm oversaturated. I'm overloading myself with this information because I'm trying to figure out the importance of DC multiverses. Like, why did he keep killing Wave Rider? What is up with that? It's so weird. Like, why do Wave Rider gotta die? He's the coolest looking character, and he's always getting murked. Man, like, come on. Silly. Also, check out Catalyst Prime. They just recently released something like, if I'm not mistaken, like either earlier this year or like later last year. It's an update to the Quincredible series, and I like it. I think it's good. So I definitely would recommend that to everyone else. But I have been talking for 12 minutes. That's it. Love, peace, safety, and keep your eyes to the skies.